Hey everybody, we got a bunch of people just kind of moving around. Comic creators coming, going, moving off titles, coming on titles. I have our first peek at what January is going to look like for King and Black. Is it going to be massive? Is it 50, 60 issues? No, it's actually a pretty reasonable amount of King and Black titles. It's a Christmas miracle, 2021 miracle of a event that doesn't have like 8,000 tie-ins for a change. Maybe there's more still coming. I suspect there's still more coming, but it pretty nice from the beginning. Let's go to that news. Hey everybody, this is Perch, just doing a little bit of news recap items. A lot of creators shifting around, so let's get them all in one place. Also going to look at the King and Black crossovers coming in January. But what do we know? Well, first off, Ed Brisson, who's been working in the X office, he's the carryover from the previous relaunch of the X-Men into the new relaunch of the X-Men and Dawn of X. He was working on New Mutants, so his issue wraps up with Ten of Swords. He's going to be off that book. It's going to go to Vida Ayala, who will be taking over the book going forward from Ed Brisson. And Ed Brisson's got some project that he can't talk about being in the discussion. It's hard to tell from his comments whether this is something in Marvel or outside of Marvel. But anyway, Ed Brisson is leaving that book. We will talk about it in King of Black, but we are seeing a revival briefly, a little 3-issue Thunderbolts comic coming up as part of King of Black. We'll get to that in a second. And there's a handful of kind of other creators and things moving around in terms of comics. But before we do that, let's get to the King of Black series. Let's see what we've got. In January, we've got a few issues here to look at, and here's what we've got. Of course, we've got the main series. This is King in Black #3, Thor fighting big ol' roided out Null right here, okay? And we're promising issue #2 is supposed to have a shocking finale. The heroes of the Marvel Universe reeling, outgunned and outmanned. They must unite and face Null. So we got a couple variant covers in here. You know, those are always nice. Oh, we're not going to show those though. Okay. We get the first spinoff, King in Black Planet of the Symbiotes #1 of 3. Very similar to, of course, Marvel's general event strategy. Here's Planet of the Symbiotes. This is probably just says Darkness Reigns over the Marvel Universe, Clay Chapman, Frank Thierry. Most likely, these are like the little 6 to 8 page stories kind of set in the world of the symbiote fighting going on, kind of anthology-like. Don't know for sure, but makes some sense. Here's another limited series, Return of the Valkyries. This is 1 of 4, and this is promising a kind of big, basically, Jane Foster is the Valkyrie, but she's the last Valkyrie, so she's got to go and find some other Valkyries to, take the fight to Null and everything else. So we got Moonstar in there, and we've got Hildegard, and then a shocking 4th warrior. So this is Jason Aaron, actually, and Tron Grunbeck is going to be doing Return of the Valkyries. We get issue #1 and issue #2 that also brings back the Century by the look of it, and lots of symbiote-looking monsters with teeth. And then we get another limited series here, another 3-part. Actually, this Return of the Valkyries is 4, but this is a 3-part Gwynnum versus Carnage. This is, Spider-Gwen, Ghost Spider. She is embracing the Gwynnum aspect and looks like she's fighting Carnage or Carnage. It's unclear if she's actually fighting Carnage or if there's just Carnage around her and she's Gwynnum. At any rate, it's a Gwen 3-issue series. And then we get King in Black, Black Knight #1. Not completely sure what this is. It's not an ongoing, but it is Black Knight, and he is Simon Spurrier coming on Jesus Says. He's going to have the Black Knight and also have Arrow and Swordmaster come into the picture. So Black Knight comic. Thunderbolts, #1 of 3, another 3-issue series. This is King in Black, Thunderbolts. Looks like we got Batroc and Taskmaster, the Rhino, Star from the Captain Marvel comic, and somebody else I do not recognize, but maybe Mr. Fear. There's Mr. Fear in there. Anyway, new Thunderbolts villains. They are hired by the Kingpin to defend New York against the symbiote invasion. Written by Matt Rosenberg. Daredevil 26 is getting interrupted with King in Black to basically plunge that series into into that. Mark Cicchetto, Chip Zdarsky, Daredevil, so on. Deadpool is crossing over into it. Everybody wants to kill Deadpool. It's kind of what they get. This damn shark. Kelly Thompson loves this shark. I don't know. Feels like that day has passed. Guardians of the Galaxy. Al Ewing is on this book, and this is Null and the Guardians of the Galaxy fighting in. It's got the return of Star-Lord, who was thought dead, but everybody knew he wasn't dead, but he's back. And what is it about Al Ewing comics and getting interrupted with events? The same thing happened to Mighty Avengers and other things he's done. To me, this derails his comics over and over and over. And so we're number 10, and we get a King in Black crossover. It's going to be at least a while. And then Savage Avengers, a book that also just lost all of its momentum with the pandemic, but it is crossing over into King in Black. Number 17. Conan the Barbarian, Deadpool, and conceivably others are doing this. And now, will they coordinate well? And will the Deadpool story in this actually meet the what's going on in Deadpool, the comic? Who knows? Let's guess. Let's go with no. And then here's Sword, number 2. This is Al Ewing's Dawn of X-ish book that has Sword coming into play here with the whole piece. I still maintain that's Frenzy, but maybe I'm wrong. I may be wrong. Anyway, Planetary Crisis, Krakoa, King in Black. This is, I think, going to be the X title that's really crossing over to King in Black. So if you're keeping track at home, this is January's King in Black citations. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 King in Black comics in January. I feel like there's a couple others that are going to kind of come wandering in here, like what's Spider-Man doing, the Avengers, but I guess the Avengers is involved in the Phoenix tournament, so who knows? But anyway, 12 issues is not terrible. I mean, that all things considered, that's not bad. That's less, I think, issues that we're getting for King of Black than the current Ten of Swords crossover. But anyway, so what do you? So that's basically your look at the King in Black. So outside of King in Black, the other probably big creator to note who's moving around a little bit is Ryan Ottley, is leaving The Amazing Spider-Man as the artist. He's announcing he's done with the book. A lot of excitement because I think Ottley's style really played to what people thought of as Spider-Man. I think there's a lot of energy and excitement around that. But he is moving off. Now, he has confirmed he is doing something else for Marvel, and he's going somewhere that he can't announce just yet, maybe in November. With where he's going in Marvel, but he will be continuing to do work at Marvel. So there's, it's an unannounced project. He's very excited about it, pre-production designs, all the rest. What will it be? I'm completely going out on a limb and speculating here, but I think the Avengers needs some kind of big reboot, and in 2021, my suspicion is we're going to see the Avengers kind of relaunched to the new number 1, new status quo, and I would expect, I don't know if that's Otley, but I would expect some of their higher talent as Marvel tries to get that book back up and going, excited again. Mark Bagley, meanwhile, is going to be doing more for Amazing Spider-Man. That's not really big news, but Patrick Gleason, who's coming onto that book and kind of getting his feet wet, is going to be joined by Mark Bagley, it sounds like, more as that whole thing kind of transitions a little bit. And then there is talk at Marvel about Venom 200, and this is all following King of Black and kind of the next big storyline coming out of all this from Donny Cates, who's been doing Venom. Donny Cates has zero, seems to have no real desires to leave that book anytime soon, and he's got bigger and bigger stories that he wants to tell. So that's going on there. So that's a lot of stuff going on with Marvel, a lot of titles moving around. DC, we're waiting, I think, another day or two. I do believe that we're going to start to see some DC solicitations come filtering out, which will tell us a lot about future state. I think they're going to continue to keep their cards pretty close to their chest of the creators who are going to be put on the ongoing titles following future state in March. But I think we'll get a really clear picture of what that looks like, what's getting interrupted, what titles are going to keep going for those 2 months that DC is basically bridging the gap between the end of Death Metal and future state. So a lot to kind of look over for and think about. So that's basically news from mostly Marvel news. We will get to some independent news here later this week. Things that are going on with Archie Comics, a little bit with Boom Studios, and kind of what we're learning about them. But in general, artists moving around. It's shifting chairs time, musical chairs time. I think that's a better way to put it. Over at Marvel, and so this is what we got: some new comics, some moving artists, and I think Marvel's still trying to figure out their way to 2021. What happens after King in Black? Obviously, it doesn't have the same kind of market attention that the whole death metal and everything that's gone on with DC. More people are kind of awaiting what's coming after that. But where Marvel is concerned, it also feels like we're at this inflection point following King of Black, following Ten of Swords, a lot of just titles kind of coming to some levels of conclusion. What's the world going to look like after that? The Kindred story is going on in Amazing Spider-Man. The Immortal Hulk is wrapping up. And so there's just a lot also shifting where the spring of Marvel, I think, is going to give us a lot of brand new number one big relaunches and reboots as they try and kind of kick that line in gear as well. But what do you think? Any of these comics, are you buying them? Are you interested in them? Are you hyped? What do you like? What do you hate? Let me know in the comments below. Like, subscribe, click the bell for notifications, but most importantly, thanks for listening.